Yo guys, Vision here back with more Marvel Rivals content. Today I'll be bringing you the full Spider-Man guide following the latest update, breaking down all of his abilities, including his team up and addressing both his strengths and weaknesses. This is episode 38 of my Hero Series guides, with all of the previous episodes all on my channel. And on that note, let's get right into it. So first things first, Spider-Man is a duelist in this game that's both a lethal burst DPS assassin and a mobile hero. He's one of the most evasive heroes in the entire game, with being one of the most entertaining but also challenging heroes to play with a 5-star difficulty. He's a true die threat in this game that in previous seasons has been so annoying and one of the most banned heroes in all of Marvel Rivals, whilst also remaining to this day a real problem to deal with when in skilled hands. As for his stats, he is a squishy hero with only 250 base health, but he sure makes up for that with his mobility that we'll get into in a second. With his abilities, he also has just a standard movement speed of 6 meters per second. However, this is not something you would typically see for a Spider-Man walking around using just his base movement speed, as we'll get into his abilities now. As for his first primary attack, this is known as the Spider Power. By pressing R2, allows him to swing fist forward to strike, dealing extra damage to the enemy with the Spider Tracer on them, which we'll get into in a second, which is his second primary attack. Now, the first primary attack is initially a punch. It's a melee-based ability, but after landing 2 consecutive punches, the next attack will be a flying kick. Each punch deals 25 damage up to 3 meters away at 0.4 seconds per hit, and the kick deals 40 damage up to 4 meters away with a 0.8 second hit speed. Now, these are obviously really close-quartered melee abilities. The second primary attack, however, is where he can shoot a web cluster that deals damage and attaches a Spider Tracer to any hit enemy. Now, this ability has 5 charges, with each one dealing 30 damage per hit, with a 2.5 second recharge speed, with the damage fall off beginning at 20 meters and decreasing to 50% in damage value at 40 meters and beyond. The Spider Tracer that attaches has a 3-second duration and deals a further 45 burst damage at the end. Now, the trick with this ability is how and when you use it. It can be used from both range as well as setting up combos. Using the Get Over Here ability by pressing R1 will shoot webbing to reel the enemies in if they are hit. If the enemy is tagged with a Spider Tracer, however, Spider-Man will then get pulled to that enemy instead and set up a lethal combo for high burst DPS, making him a real sort of assassin style hero, especially using his mobility. Now, this ability has a max distance of 20 meters as well as a max kicking distance of 24 meters, dealing 25 initial projectile damage, and the kick damage is 55 with an 8-second cooldown. Now, in addition to this, by pressing square allows them to use the amazing combo which launches up an enemy when they are hit, dealing extra damage to the enemy with a Spider Tracer on them as well, whilst also having a 4-meter range, so making it very close quarters, dealing 60 damage and 2 charges, with each one taking 6 seconds to recharge and a 2-second cooldown in between those uses. So as you can see, setting up all of these abilities using the Spider Tracer is really what you want to do in order to excel using all of his abilities and his capabilities. Increasing his strengths and weaknesses and all of that sort of stuff is where you really want to be sort of maximizing and excelling using this character. Now, in addition to his damage, his true effectiveness comes from his mobility. By pressing L1, allows Spider-Man to shoot a strand of web to swing around the map and be really annoying, with a max distance of 30 meters to each web, with 3 charges and each one taking 6 seconds per charge. Now, getting really comfortable with flying around the map using this ability is really where you're going to excel, with both breaking down the enemy team's backline, getting in and out, staying alive, and as well as just generally being faster on the map to do more damage. He can also double jump whilst in the air by pressing X, and this will be sort of allow him to sort of significantly stay in the air for longer and sort of work on managing his kit and recharging his cooldowns, whilst also being able to press X to wall crawl at 3 meters per second. Whilst crawling, he can also then press R2 to sprint at 9 meters per second, making it really effective as well for when you want to try and make a sort of sneaky play and flank around and all that sort of stuff and hide, especially for evasion. Now, in addition to this, Spider-Man also has a passive ability known as the Spider Sense, which gives him a warning of enemies that have been around within an 8-meter radius and after 3 seconds of disappearance, which will then trigger this detection. And this is really useful, especially for people that are trying to hide and stay alive, where you can track and trace them down. He also shares the Inferno Blast team ability with the Human Torch, who stores pyrokinetic energy in Spider-Man's suit, enabling him to unleash an Inferno Blast that sprays a fiery web, whilst also performing a backflip to create that distance. The flames deal damage to the enemies and apply a burn tracer as well. Detonating these burn tracers inflicts that damage over time. This deals 30 initial damage on using this ability, has a max distance of 8 meters, and the tracer has a 3-second duration, whilst the damage over time duration lasts for 4 seconds, dealing 15 damage per second, so 60 in total, and has a 12-second cooldown. As for the ultimate ability, this is known as the Spectacular Spin, where Spider-Man can spin, launch web clusters all around to damage and stun enemies within an 8-meter radius, lasting for 2.5 seconds in duration, dealing 13.6 damage per hit with an attack interval of 0.08 hits per second, applying a 3% slow effect per hit. It also slows the enemy for 1 second second in duration if an enemy is hit by 20 or more times, and it will also stun them for 1.5 seconds if this is the case, whilst also giving him a 250 bonus health during the use of this ultimate, which only costs 2,800 energy to use, and making it one of the cheapest and lowest earning ultimates in the entire game. I'd say in summary, he's one of the most entertaining characters, definitely one of the most highest skilled in terms of ceiling and how effective he can be when you really know what you're doing with the character. I for sure definitely do not. This is one of the characters I have not sort of yet got round to playing. I do enjoy playing him in the sense that it is really fun to swing around and be mobile, but being effective whilst combining all of his spider tracers, dealing damage and maximizing his damage output is really difficult, to say the least. But in summary, I'd say he's one of the best characters in the game when it comes to dive. He is an evasive, true DPS assassin style character who can really stay alive when in skilled hands, and definitely make use of this practice range, really excel at trying to figure out these combos and work on your movement around the maps. This is definitely something I would advise, especially for swinging characters. Anyone that dives around the map and is trying to be effective by using these sort of mechanics is definitely a really good area for you to practice and work on these things. But if you guys have enjoyed the video, as always, do not forget to like and subscribe. It massively helps me out. I'm a small creator, as you guys can see. And if you have any comments or thoughts about playing as this character, as Spider-Man, or any cool clips that you want to share, perhaps, let me know down below in the comments and I'll get right back to you. I'm Vision. I hope you enjoyed the video and found this useful, and I'll see you in the next one.